Hello, everybody, and welcome to another delicious episode of Exponential Potential. And we're not talking about food, but we are talking about the reason why it's so delicious is that we're talking about creating your personal sanctuary. And Claire is going to be leading this today with her expertise. Claire, hey, how you doing?
Hey, well, you say it's not about food, but it's food for the soul.
Yes, it is indeed. Yes.
Indeed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really good. I'm feeling quite resistant at the moment, and we'll dive into that topic a little bit more. But there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of noise, and also there's a lot of charlatans who are making money off the noise, and I'm not very happy with that.
Interesting. So it's triggering you. It's
It's
triggering you, isn't
triggering me
it?
a lot. Yeah.
Mm, mm. So yeah, this is another. So this month we are talking all about retreats, whether that's group retreats, going somewhere on retreat, whether that's creating your own personal retreat within you every day, which is what we're talking about today. So we're going to dive into, why that's so important, um, and give you some really good tools as to how you can do that. Because I know, it's so difficult when you're so busy to actually make yourself, and like you're saying, there's resistance. A lot of resistance comes up when you want to relax and unwind.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just going to dive into all of it and to really give you some top tools and techniques and some, as usual, some proper guidance to help you start changing the way you do things so that you have more vibrancy, more energy, more clarity, focus, and truly have, get into that zone of exponential potential. So I'm excited. So why do you think it is so important for leaders to find time to relax and have their own sanctuary? And actually, can I just add to that question? What do you mean by sanctuary?
So um, let me answer the first part first
Yeah.
and kind of reveal why I'm a little bit triggered at the minute. And it probably
Okay.
doesn't help that I listen to podcasts before we have our podcast. but but actually for so many people right now, they're feeling there's an underlying level of angst. There's we're feeling kind of a little touch of irritability, and conflict, and it's spinning out, particularly if you're somebody who's quite empathic. And that's natural when there's so much going on politically, but also in terms of conflict with the big C. The world is starting to feel like a fast moving, and a little less safe place to be. And what's triggering me is there are a number of really global speakers like Tony Robbins, for example. And I don't know about you, but every 5 minutes on YouTube at the moment, any advert is Tony Robbins reminding us that AI is going to take over the world. We'll all be out of jobs. Inflation's going through the roof. We're on the verge of civil war. And, or the doomsayers are kind of, it's probably not quite right. They're coming forward to say that society goes through seasons, and we're in a winter season, a fourth turning, which kind of is triggering a lot in terms of kind of that unsettled feeling. And what's frustrating me, what's triggering me, is that yes, kind of we need to have those open discussions and debates, but actually there's still a fair bit of profiteering off of that increasing level of anxiety. And when you add into that some of the aspects of technology, and so it's like, oh my goodness me. But when you add in aspects of technology like your phones and your scrolling, kind of our attention spans are shorter and shorter.
Mm-hmm.
which kind of triggers its own level of alertness all of the time, because you're looking at all the time, both for the dopamine hits, but also what's changing, what's going on, what's happening there. And one of the most interesting pieces of research that I've been listening to is that one of the most damaging aspects of scrolling is not so much around the chasing the dopamine, but actually it is an escape. It distracts you from processing, from resting, from processing negative emotions. It's an avoidant behavior in a way.
Yes.
And so we have these different influences that are going on. It's like, be more scared, be more scared, be more ready, be more anxious, buy my stuff, and then you'll be ready. And then we also have the, okay, just need to reset, but you're not really releasing and processing. And so I think, for many of us, not just those in a leadership space, we need to find ways of actually retreating and relaxing from those influences to find our own inner balance. And kind of from that sense, the sanctuary is a place of physical retreat, where you often think about a physical retreat, but where you kind of physically retreat back into yourself, you connect back into yourself, you connect back into your voice, into that stillness, as opposed to all of these external influences and noises.
And that is with, the way Tony markets his products and things is a very masculine energy around that. And there's two ways of looking at that as well, if I can just offer to help you so that you're not so triggered. Because, I don't want, we are, and incidentally, when a trigger comes up, it's an opportunity to heal. And it's an opportunity, because a trigger is a judgment. That's where the triggers come from. We're judging something, and we all judge. And I constantly, I'm judge. I really judge my dad, I've noticed. And what was so interesting is he's such a judger. And that's what triggers me, the fact that he judges, and yet I'm judging. So before we just move on, and I think this might help other people that are seeing those types of adverts as well. Some of them may well come from a good place. And one of the things around marketing is, if you really focus on people's pain points, they actually are more likely to do something about it. But that building, when you're constantly seeing all these things that are going wrong in the world, I think what you say is so beautiful, that you have the power to come back within yourself, to adjust that and to reset and change your perspective around things, and focus on your own internal well-being. So I think what you say about bringing yourself back into your own personal sanctuary is beautiful, and we all have the power to do that. We don't need to listen to the gurus all the time. We have our own power, we have our own guidance, and so there are times where we need that external guidance to help us. But yeah, I 100% agree. But also there's I think sometimes you can become so passionate and enthusiastic about something, you can forget the effect that this could have on people that maybe don't sign up or can't afford. He does so much free stuff as well, but that free stuff is then leading into his paid programs.
They are, and it probably comes at a time when in the UK politics, there are certain masculine personalities that are getting airtime and triggering many people on both sides of the debate. And so it's just noise.
And actually, from a triggering point of view, one, it's an opportunity to heal, but it's also an opportunity to do something about it. We're all about feminine, divine energy and tuning in, and that softer, more gentler side, but we're still warriors. We still have that strength. So I think it is time for that attitude and that way of being to change. and that femininity is coming through more and more as I speak to more female leaders. Yeah, wonderful. So having that inner sanctuary or going within, so what are the things, what suggestions and what are some of the common ways that people can unwind? What are some of the common ways people try to unwind now? So if someone's trying to unwind, but it's not working for them, what's the downside of the methods that they're using at the moment that aren't working for them?
Well, in some ways, kind of when you're unwinding, many people are on the settee with their family, and they're kind of with their family. I'm just as bad, but scrolling at the same time, and they're like, oh, okay, I wonder about this and that, and so they're kind of really quite distracted and multitasking within that setting, not necessarily having that pure sense of focus and presence. Really effective ways that people can unwind through expression of art or being involved in an activity, whether that be in the garden or certainly kind of working with your hands. It's a very present activity that allows you to center. In terms of other aspects, for many people, sport is a way to unwind. It's really effective. It's a great way to move the energy and the hormones around your body, for sure. So all of those elements are really quite key. And I think particularly if you are engaging in those activities, or if you're spending time in nature or going for a walk, that's where you allow the piece to resurface. That's where some of your most creative ideas come from. That's where the problem solving almost naturally seems to come, instead of being really narrowly focused on one thing, or open yourself up to other influences.
And I think what you say there it's about presence and engagement, being engaged in what's in front of you. I had a really good conversation with a client yesterday that's exactly that. She cannot unwind, and she's escaping and distracting herself by watching the TV, harshly listening to her husband, playing games on her phone, scrolling through Facebook, and her anxiety levels are through the roof at the moment. And so it is, you think you're unwinding, don't you, by scrolling and relaxing in front of the TV, but are you? If your mind's still going and you're still busy, then no, you're not.
When you're caught to that level of thinking, certainly in my own history, when I was caught in that low level anxiety, you then also have quite a fast turnaround of emotions and responses. So you're reacting, essentially. So you're always kind of on an alert phase. So you're thinking about what might go wrong, or kind of what combination of things will happen, or somebody will say something and you'll jump on it, or you'll exaggerate it, or go into conflict. And so one of the main things around presence is that it encourages you, it gives you the skill to keep coming back to presence throughout the day, almost that rebalancing. So it's not always it's an activity that, if you can discover presence and find ways to bring that through, it doesn't have to be at home in the evening. It doesn't have to be in a meditation corner in your room. It doesn't have to be on a beach and that's the only place that you can relax. There are ways that you can intersperse your day with these small adjustments that allow you to keep coming back to your balance and coming back to your center. Because Tony is quite right in picking up the pain points, and those pain points are real. They are happening for many people. So the world is changing dynamically and it's changing fast. But one of the gifts that you can give yourself is that chance to flow along with it rather than fight against it, and to connect into your own intuition, your own guidance and strength, so that you're reducing down friction.
Yeah, and I think what you say there about not just waiting to the weekend or to the evening, or to be on the beach or to go for a walk, you can do that. You can reset yourself at any time through the day. And one of the things we talk about is taking resets through your day, and that's the key. It really brings you back to that balance. So then that has an impact when you're not relaxing or not resetting and not creating that calm, balanced, not necessarily just calm, but balance within your life. And you are, as you say, in angst and you're reacting. That has a big impact as being a leader in your leadership role, doesn't it? In terms of how that affects your leadership.
Yeah, it has an effect in many ways. So it certainly affects your relationships, not just in the workplace, but also in your family setting or in the traffic on the way to your workplace. It definitely it keeps pulling through those aggravations throughout the day. It also increases your level of judgment in terms of yourself and your own actions. Kind of many people will turn that inward or against the situations that are around. It also means that you don't notice all of the small bits of progress that are being made, because you're very narrow in your approach. You're not looking for evidence that you're moving along. You're not looking for kind of the positive intent behind someone's comments, for example. You're just seeing kind of challenge, difficulty, problem, solve, move forward.
Yeah, like you say, when you actually instead of looking for the evidence of things, of how things are working out for you and how things you're progressing, and you're actually looking for evidence of how it's not working. And the more you do that, the brain the more you find it. So where your focus goes, your energy flows.
For sure.
Yeah. So I think that's a key point to notice the difference between when you're really wound tight and feeling the overwhelm and the anxious versus when you're at how effective, productive, compassionate, understanding, solution and ideas based you can become, creative, when you become more relaxed and balanced, when your mind is quiet, when you feel that calmness, that inner stillness.
And also, kind of for many people that I've been talking to in my research, they see meditation as something they can't do. And very often meditation is misunderstood as being still and present for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes. There are now elite meditators who kind of go, yes, I can meditate for 5 days straight.
That's so ego based. It's like, no, that's not the meaning.
Like, oh no. But for many people, they misconstrue what meditation is and what it allows, and particularly we've described the busyness that's around us, and so you could argue as a species we're starting to move faster, we're starting to kind of move at this superficial level, so going deeper is harder and harder. But you don't always need to go deep and calm and inward. You can stay in a sense of curiosity, in a sense of wonder, in a sense of amusement, and stay in quite high vibrational states of like, oh okay, excitement. Excitement is a really giddy bit. It's like, oh, you know what? I've never noticed that tree behind you does this. So it's like, oh. And so, you know, yes, bring through some of these deep inward activities that connect you to your intuition, that start to connect with, you know, your higher self. But also, you can bring through activities that allow that playfulness, so you don't you can play with all of the energies, which makes it a lot easier to bring through. Because certainly, you know, in a workplace environment, if you're in a stressful meeting, or if you're, I don't know, if you're in traffic, you can't stop and be completely still. It doesn't happen. So what other techniques can you use that allow you to, you know, just snap out of the place that you are and take more control, be more you in that space.
Yes, yeah, because there are many levels of I mean, even within meditation, there's many different ways to meditate, which don't involve sitting cross-legged and saying om, you know.
Yeah, which, and that's not to you know, take away from sitting in places.
No, because that can take you really deep. But yeah, there are many ways to meditate. So one of the stories we tell ourselves is when we can't meditate, and actually, yes, you can. You just you just got to find the right way to start. But I love what you say about, you know, doing other things that make you feel it, that get you excited, you know, adventure, travel, food gets me excited. Engaging it brings you back to being present with what's in front of you. And still, instead of allowing the mind to go too far ahead of itself, but it's bringing your mind back to where you are and what you're doing, so you can fully engage with it. And that's where all the kind of the magic happens, isn't it? The shift.
And sorry, I was going to say,
go.
You know, there's ways that you can weave that through in your day-to-day life. So we're learning more and more about vitamin D and how important it is to, you know, expose your skin to vitamin D. It's really important in terms of your body and your growth, and, you know, Italy, you know that for sure. But the biohackers are now going, well, you need to spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes in the sunshine every day, or outside every day. And that's a ritual that I started to bring through in my own life. Every morning, I try to get outside, or at least, you know, at the foot of the stairs to the garden, so that I can get the sun on me, or get the drizzle on me in the UK. You remember what drizzle is now that you're in Italy?
We're going to have thunderstorms later. We had hailstones a few weeks ago, Claire. We get rain. That's why it's so green. It's the green heart of Italy where I am. So we don't often get drizzle.
Yeah, but so every day, as part of my morning ritual, I am outside in terms of vitamin D. I then have a short gratitude practice that connects me back to the universe, and I am grateful for the day before and what that brought. And then I kind of notice and try to notice. It makes it sound like it's a lot of effort.
You don't try, you do.
The birds. Yeah,
you do. You don't try, you just do it. Yeah.
Notice the bird song, or you notice a snail trail, or you notice something in the sky, or a star, or, you know, just watch Enzo running around. But it's just that tiny flicker of a moment that you catch, and just that micro moment is here I am. Hello, Claire. Oh, hello, Ralph. Oh, hello, Claire. And you can bring that through at any point. You can bring that through when you're boiling the kettle. You can, there's so many ways that you can activate different sensory responses that help you to remember that you're a human being. You're here experiencing everything that's around you. And it's enormously rebalancing.
The energy of that statement, I'm just absorbing the energy of that statement in terms of here I am. It's really beautiful. We're like, here I am. Hello. Nice to meet you. There you are. There you are. It's such a simple thing to do. And you were talking earlier about resistance. Was that more around, what was that resistance about?
I think there's a couple of different ways. One is that we are going through a lot of change, and many people will be changed and will face anger and frustration and be shifted. That is going to happen. I just think that some of the narrative is accelerating that and is creating more disharmony to suit personal gain than it is harmony. And especially in terms of conflict, it's finding those common areas that how do you build from there? How do you build together? What is the other person trying to say? Where is the compromise? It's
where's the neutrality in that?
Yeah, and kind of we cannot all be exactly right at the same time, because there are two ways that can happen. One is we're all brainwashed and follow exactly the same dogma. The other is that we're all at war with each other all of the time. So none of us is 100% right. And it's a foolhardy.
Yeah, and there's always so many different. Everybody has their own truth around something.
Yeah.
Yes. It's how tight you hold that truth creates that I want to be right. I'm right. This is my truth. Therefore, I'm right. Yeah.
And kind of there's a lot of fear-based narrative that encourages people to take tighter control.
Yes.
And to reinforce their position of being right. And as we both know, in any change that goes on, the more you control it, the harder it becomes, and more pain and suffering you cause. I'm not saying lean into where it goes, but follow and observe and be curious and find opportunity, because there is always opportunity.
And I think, if we look at things on a bigger scale, we can potentially feel so helpless. You talked about conflict before, but conflict starts at home. Healing conflict starts at home. And the more we do that, the bigger an impact we have as a whole. And I know we're talking about, balance and inner sanctuary, and we can do that at any time through the day. But I also know that you're working on a really exciting project. And it's called the Inochi Pod. I've seen the designs, they look absolutely gorgeous, and the potential of this is amazing. So can you tell us about the Inochi Pod, what it is, what it's for, the impact, the benefits and impact, and what makes it a special place to chill out and more.
So over the nearly 2 years that we've been working together, I've been on such a journey, and I've learned so much from you, and it's also triggered my own curiosity to follow different paths and explore. And it's reaffirmed to me how important it is for leaders to not just learn the hard skills, and also not just the soft skills of relationships, but also the spiritual elements of leadership, the in-spirit elements of leadership. And so that's been something I've been intensely curious about for some time, as well as AI. And I won't start down the AI route because we'll lose an hour. But AI as well has been an area that I've explored, and starting to think, well, how could the two work together? Yeah, how could we encourage people to find that inner peace, that inner sanctuary? And could we imagine a world where kind of inner the boundaries between inner and outer dissolve, where you can find that presence, where you can find somewhere where space and time mean everything and nothing? What would that look like? Where would you go? And so that's led to a practical design of a meditation pod. So if I can describe it, and you've seen the designs, this is essentially a large, really organic shape of an egg, best describe it, that you retreat within, and it's an immersive space, not in terms of VR necessarily, although you can use VR with it, but not necessarily VR, more around immersive soundscapes and guided content that encourages you, that gives you a place of safety and encourages you to retreat in, and supports you to retreat in, and encourages you to go on little curious adventures and playful time. So so in terms of the work, I've just recently come off a incubator to develop the design and to understand the AI behind it, and it's really exciting and beautiful. And also one of the things that is brought through with the project is not just an expression for those energies, those meditations, those spiritual elements. Also, there is so much research going on around consciousness and neuroscience. So how do we bring through some of those science discovered? I was going to say science facts. They've always been there. It's just that we've now got the words for it, and I go, oh right, okay. But there's a tremendous amount of research that's going on around consciousness at the moment, and so it weaves through that combination of deep ancient wisdom and really modern science in one place.
And it is a really truly beautiful design. It's just ergonomic and aesthetically pleasing, and it's also incredibly comfortable looking. It's soft. There's all sorts of things that are involved in its senses and things like that. So I want you to sort of delve in a little bit in terms of some of the, not only is it beautiful and aesthetic and comfortable, but what are some of the cool tech that you're incorporating into the Inochi Pod to help people relax?
Yeah, so one of the areas I've touched on is the sound, and that's really quite key in terms of the 3D and immersive sound element, as well as active noise cancellation. So from the moment that you're inside it. It's open face, but there's almost a kind of sound curtain that blocks out the rest of the world, that allows you to be here in this space. Why is immersive sound really important? Well, when you look at music therapy, for example, music triggers a wider and deeper range of emotions in us than simply words. And we both listen to binaural beats, many of the kind of vibrational tones and somatic healing. We're starting to really understand how sound plays such an important role in us from a neurological and a physiological perspective. So it holds you in that space. There's then also a number of biometric sensors, heart rate variability, for example, as a proxy measure of how calm you are. And also there's an alternative to EEGs where you don't have to wear a cap. that you can start to understand a little bit more about the brain activity. So bringing in that so that we can understand and help and guide you through that space and that journey, and also encourage you to understand and connect back to the feelings that you're feeling, so that you know what it feels like to be calm, you know what it feels like to be giddy. And
giddy, I love that word.
And so you can bring that through in the day. It's like, I want to feel giddy, how do we do that? Okay, let's do this, let's do that. So you're guided to reconnect those body aspects, or how your body responds to different emotional states, so that again you're learning, you're not just taken through the experience, you're skilling up, so that when you go outside the pod you're able to recreate elements. Then the other aspect, the strong aspect, is really around the AI aspect. So there's a lot of generative text in there. We've been experimenting with that for over a year now in terms of generative text, and really examining what resources are out there, what's been covered in ancient Greece, what's been covered in Aboriginal history. How do we bring through these stories and narratives to help us connect back at a much deeper level with humanity, really? And then the final aspect is around the AI research engine that pulls on the latest. So I joke at the moment that every dollar that Elon Musk spends on Neuralinks is brilliant, because he's really pushing us to learn more about the brain and how it operates. And the more that we learn about the brain, the more that we're able to use that to develop ourselves.
Yeah, the pod itself, there's so many different levels of and ways that you can use it, like you say, from a meditation to really increasing your frequency and energetically in your vibration, to bringing yourself to a really deep level of relaxation. But also then there's the using the brain, opening up those portals to help you become more ideas, for real creativity and effectiveness and productivity. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it in action.
Well, yeah, and I think that different people will take different aspects from it. So
absolutely.
Kind of when we talk about portals, so frequently, because I can, for those who've been looking at transcendental meditation and astral projection for some time, you develop those skills. But actually, what would that look like? Where could you go in space and time but still be in your pod? And we saw that at a recent event when someone saw it and they're like, oh, you know what, my family's from Mauritius, I could have a soundscape and then feel like I'm in Mauritius. And like, yes, that's the first step towards projection.
Yes, yeah. So what have you seen so far? What have been some of the big wins with leaders who have used meditation pods regularly?
Well, there's been a lot of research around the existing meditation pods in terms of their ability to relax or get into a creative space. So you're seeing Google, for example, investing in meditation rooms. That's the equivalent of being within a lava lamp, if you can imagine that. So, it's aesthetically gorgeous and you're filled with wonder. You do see others that are almost like the immersion tanks and guide you through. But for me, it's still, there's again others that take you through a light show. I'm allowed to dismiss competitors. They take you through a light show, and that has, it's got
Color
an
therapy.
impact on your, it's got an impact on your thinking and your success rate. So the evidence is coming through really strongly in those aspects. But for me, it still keeps you in the realm of entertainment, which is still quite externally focused. Whereas, I know that there's even more wonder when you shift that to an internal focus. Because ultimately, if you only go internal enough, you go the universe.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the more, when you go internally and you go deeper, you feel you feel the connection. You feel you are really tapped into your intuition and your inner guidance when your brain is quiet, or when your brain has been, when your brain vibration of your brain, or the waves, that's what I'm looking for, your brain waves have changed and shifted, which is one of the things the Inochi Pod does, isn't it? Or music, it shifts your brain waves into the frequency where you can be in that space of expansiveness. And
and we I've mentioned that we've been experimenting with content. So I've already got a body of pre-recorded content that I've developed over the last year, and I've been working with individual clients on that. And for example, it's going back to Athena's days and spending time with Athena and understanding how she approaches strategic thinking and her presence, and bringing that back as an immersive activity, or stories that are using a child's voice on some really deep aspects of wisdom. So resilience, for example, as a poem about a grasshopper told in an 8-year-old girl's voice. It's just beautiful, because in terms of the neuroscience and behavioral science aspects, it kind of disrupts your thinking, because it's like, well, why is that? It also taps into, we've known for millennia about the power of stories to captivate and distill and create movement. So
amazing. Exciting. So where do you see tech going in the future when it comes to helping us to relax and take care of ourselves, our well-being?
Well,
and more. It's not just, and more, and our potential, all of that.
Well, there are so many aspects that are available right now, and this is where you can consciously look for different bits of content. So when we're talking about music and brainwaves and binaural beats that influence your brainwaves, those are available. Just look them up on YouTube. There are many excellent channels that are available that can take you through that. There are I've got a particular favorite that I don't mind name dropping. I've got no affiliation with, but there's one called Sonic Elevator, and they have different quite shamanic journeys and soundscapes. So you can sit and be there and go through that and just go on your own little journey. I don't know about you, if you have any favorite resources, Jen.
Depends on what I'm doing and where I want to be. I think I don't always go back to the same ones. I look through my history, but I can't remember because I listen to so many, I don't remember the names of them. But I kind of search and see what comes up and what is appealing to me at the time, which I think is a useful way of doing it. But certainly when I'm searching, I'm quite specific in my search. So binaural beats. So I want to listen to the binaural beats, but I also want nature sounds, and I also want to hear hang drum or pan drum, for example. Or I want to listen to Indian flute with binaural beats. And then what is it I'm doing? I want to be in my creative space, or I want to relax. And I do it when I'm doing healing if I'm working with a client, then again, it's a different type of search. It's more about healing. Zen meditation is one of my favorites, and that's not me. That's not Zen Jen, but it actually happens to be Zen meditation. So yeah, I just quite specific in how I search.
And yeah, there's some incredible music with incredible claims as well that you listen to, particularly around, there's lots around prosperity, of course there is, but also kind of in terms of your body and how it responds. And I think this is a really fascinating area to keep watching over the next few years as we understand them. There are also a number of meditation devices that are there which take you through a journey, and I describe them as jukeboxes of content, but of course they are, they're really good. They're really good. So explore that. I think another area that I use my phone a lot for is when I'm out walking, capturing nature. And it's not just, there's lots of snaps. So if you ever follow my Instagram feed, you'll see goodness knows how many flowers, but also 10-20 second videos of something, a bee flying, or the sea, or the trees, or grass. So my Instagram feed is full of those, partly for me because I'm still and I'm watching what's going on behind it. I'm watching the screen as well, and I've got that, but also I deliberately share it to make others stop. Just go, here's my little gift, this is what's going on.
Imagery can be very powerful, and especially imagery of nature, and things that make you smile, like the whole the otter things that are holding hands and sleeping and they're on their backs. Where did that come? That popped up recently. I think it was even I was watching a film, or I was watching something and they incorporated it into a film, and it's just looking at things like that lift you and make you smile as well.
And it's, we can criticize, I certainly have criticized social media in terms of avoidant behavior and and comparison, and how you can be led down many different paths with that. But if you can be conscious and intentional, then it becomes a really powerful tool to help you to connect back to yourself, connect with others around you, and connect to this amazing world that we're in.
I think it's the unconscious scrolling versus the conscious scrolling, where you're not actually scrolling, you're looking for something specific. And I do have a lot of favorites. I save them as well, but like I say, I can't remember but I have folders of favorites, and whether that's music, images, content. Yes. Conscious people, conscious.
I know. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Just watch this space in terms of Inochi, and at the moment, I've been in LA recently on market research and starting to understand kind of the investment route there. So it's being birthed at the moment, and you'll be the first to hear when it comes alive. And if you're curious about the project, just reach out. And similarly, if you want to access some of the pre-recorded aspects, I'll have a link, and you can have a nose and see the design. It's consciously designed in a way that it can be a piece of furniture in your living room for 20 years, and you can use it as intended. You can use it to to use your augmented reality or virtual reality goggles, and have be sat in a speaker and have surround sound. Or you could read a book, or you could just sit. So it's intentionally designed as something that's really quite beautiful, that you want to be in and around. But again, kind of we'll include a link to the website so you can see what it looks like.
Marvelous. Thank you, Claire. That was wonderful. And I hope that you've taken notes, but maybe you need to go back again and take some notes as to what you can do each day to connect with your own personal sanctuary, and and remind yourself how important that is to do for everyone, for yourself and for everyone. So thanks very much for listening, and you know what to do: like, share, subscribe. Really helps us to continue bringing you content, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.